Introduction. A Tale of Two Fortunes. The book, The Psychology of Money, by Morgan Housel challenges the traditional view of finance as a math-based field. Housel argues that doing well with money has less to do with how smart you are and more to do with your behavior. He introduces this idea with two powerful stories. The first is about an unnamed technology executive, a genius who designed a key component in Wi-Fi routers. Despite his success, he had a childish relationship with money, carrying thick stacks of $100 bills and once even throwing $1,000 gold coins into the ocean, just for fun. Ultimately, this behavior led him to go broke. The second story is of Ronald James Reed, a janitor and gas station attendant who lived a low-key life. He bought a two-bedroom house for $12,000 at age 38 and lived there for the rest of his life. When he died at 92, he had a net worth of over $8 million, which he left to his stepkids, local hospital, and library. His secret? He saved what little he could and invested it in blue-chip stocks for decades, allowing the savings to compound. These stories prove Housel's point. Ordinary people with no financial education can become wealthy if they possess a handful of behavioral skills that have nothing to do with intelligence. Timeless lessons on wealth, greed, and happiness. Housel's book is built on 20 short chapters, each presenting a fundamental idea. A great long-form video can explore these concepts in depth, using visuals and real-world examples. 1. No one's crazy. What seems crazy to you might make perfect sense to me because we have different financial experiences. People from different generations, raised with different values and in different economies, learn very different lessons about money. For example, someone who grew up during high inflation thinks about risk and reward differently than someone who didn't. Housel uses the example of lottery tickets. Americans spend more on them than on movies, video games, music, sporting events, and books combined, and this is done mostly by poor people. From a rational viewpoint, this seems crazy, but from the perspective of someone living paycheck to paycheck, a lottery ticket is the only time they can hold a tangible dream of getting the good stuff that others take for granted. 2. Luck and risk. Housel emphasizes that luck and risk are siblings. They're both the reality that every outcome in life is guided by forces other than individual effort. The story of Bill Gates and his 1 in a million luck of attending a high school with a computer is balanced by the story of his equally brilliant friend, Kent Evans, who died in a 1 in a million mountaineering accident before they could start their company together. When judging people's success, whether it's your own or others, it's never as good or as bad as it seems. Acknowledging the role of luck prevents you from underestimating risk, and understanding risk helps you forgive failure. 3. Never enough. The ceiling of social comparison is so high that virtually no one can reach it, which makes it a battle that can never be won. Housel shares the story of hedge fund manager Richard Fuscone and former McKinsey CEO Rajat Gupta, both of whom had enormous wealth but wanted more. Their endless pursuit of more led them to illegal activities and ruin. The lesson is that there is no reason to risk what you have and need for what you don't have and don't need. As Housel notes, modern capitalism is a pro at two things: generating wealth and generating envy, and life isn't fun without a sense of enough. 4. Confounding compounding. Compounding is Housel's favorite topic. He explains that it's a small growth that fuels future growth, leading to results so extraordinary they seem to defy logic. He uses the example of an ice age, which starts with a small, unnoticeable layer of snow that never melts and then, over hundreds of years, grows into a continental ice sheet. This same principle applies to Warren Buffett's wealth. Of his $84.5 billion net worth, $84.2 billion was accumulated after his 50th birthday. His skill is investing, but his secret is time. The most powerful and important financial book should be a single page titled, Shut Up and Wait. 5. Getting wealthy versus staying wealthy. Getting money and keeping money are two different skills. Housel contrasts Jesse Livermore, who made over $3 billion in the 1929 stock market crash but later lost everything and took his own life, with venture capitalist Michael Moritz, who attributes Sequoia Capital's success to a fear of going out of business. The ability to survive for a long time without wiping out is what makes the biggest difference. Housel advises to focus less on earning high returns and more on being financially unbreakable, because being able to stick around for a long time allows compounding to work. 6. Wealth is what you don't see. 5. Getting wealthy versus staying wealthy. Housel discusses the paradox of the man in the car paradox. When you see someone driving a nice car, you rarely think, wow, the guy driving that car is cool. Instead, you think, wow, if I had that car, people would think I'm cool. He explains the difference between being rich and being wealthy. Rich is a current income, something you can see, like an expensive car or a big house. Wealth, however, is hidden. It's the income not spent, the assets that haven't been converted into things you can see. 7. Freedom. The highest dividend money pays is the ability to control your time. Housel shares the story of a college friend who achieved his dream of becoming a doctor only to find himself miserable from the stress and long hours. This contrasts with the experience of entrepreneur Derek Sivers, who felt free and wealthy after saving just enough to quit his job and become a musician. Money's greatest value is its ability to give you control over what you can do and when you can do it. 8. Nothing's free. Everything has a price, but not all prices are on the label. Market returns are never free. They demand a price in the form of volatility, fear, and uncertainty. Many investors try to get the returns without paying the price by trading in and out of the market. However, Housel argues that viewing market volatility as an admission fee, rather than a fine, is an important part of developing the mindset that lets you stick around for gains to work in your favor. 9. Reasonable and rational. 7. Freedom. Academic finance is devoted to finding mathematically optimal strategies. However, Housel believes that in the real world, people don't want the optimal strategy, they want the strategy that helps them sleep at night. He cites Nobel Prize winner Harry Markowitz, who split his personal investments 50-50 between stocks and bonds to minimize his future regret. This shows that being reasonable, accepting a less than perfect strategy for a long time, is often more effective than trying to be coldly rational, which can lead to abandoning a plan when emotions take over. 10. Surprise. History is often used as a map for the future, but Housel warns that this is a fallacy. The most important events in history, like the Great Depression or World War II, were outliers that were impossible to predict. The correct lesson from these surprises is that the world is surprising. The most important economic events of the future will be things that history gives us little to no guide about, and we won't be prepared for them. 11. All together. Now Housel summarizes the core tenets of his book with actionable advice. Go out of your way to find humility and forgiveness. It's never as good or as bad as it seems, and luck and risk are real and hard to identify. Less ego, more wealth. Wealth is created by suppressing what you could buy today to have more options in the future. Increase your time horizon. Time is the most powerful force in investing. It makes little things grow big and big mistakes fade away. Be okay with a lot of things going wrong. Most successful things are tail events, so it's normal for many of your ideas to fail. Define the cost of success. You have to pay the price, and sometimes that price is uncertainty, doubt, and regret. Closing confessions. In the final chapter, Housel shares his own financial philosophy, emphasizing that there is no one right way to handle money, just the way that works for you. His personal goal is to wake up every day knowing his family can do whatever they want on their own terms. He lives considerably below his means, which has allowed his savings rate to continuously rise, creating an independence fund. He also made the worst financial decision but the best money decision by paying off his mortgage, valuing the independent feeling over rational financial gains from leverage. He saves for things that are impossible to predict, as a hedge against life's inevitable surprises. His journey demonstrates that the ultimate goal is the mastery of the psychology of money, which for him means ensuring he can always sleep well at night.